The World War I simulation is a hands-on, interactive activity designed to stimulate interest in the Great War. Students will be put into leadership positions and burdened with the same problems and circumstances faced by the real leaders in 1914. The one aspect of the World War I history simulation that makes it so unlike a board game or video game is the human interaction. You don't know what your opponent is going to do, and even if you did, you wouldn't know how they were going to go about it and get it accomplished. Students are constantly problem solving as conditions can change by the minute. Remember, there is no guaranteed outcome. Students are constantly working on their persuasive skills as they try and influence others to go along with their master plan. Students are constantly trying to gain the advantage by reading ahead in the book and researching their opponents. The simulation is fully customizable in that you can add or delete certain parts to make it work for you. For example, I know one teacher in Winnipeg, Canada, that is going to add the Canadian element into the simulation to go along with his Canadian history curriculum. This is the best way I have found to get students excited about history. The war map is divided into countries that were involved in World War I. The Allies are orange in color, the Central Powers are light green, and the neutral countries are yellow. Uninvolved countries are gray and cannot be involved in the simulation in any way. Some countries are divided into zones like Germany with G1, G2, and G3. All the seas, oceans, and major islands are also marked, including significant boundaries like the Ardennes Forest and the Dardanelles Strait in the Ottoman Empire. The seas and oceans are divided into zones, which creates a more realistic time frame for naval movement and the transport of troops. Each land zone and country are separate objects that enable you to change their color on the map. So like F2 down here, you can click on that and you can change that to neutral. Or to, if the Central Powers happen to take it over, you could change that to Central Powers color. Also, if they change alliance or something, you can change those colors. The kids love to see the colors change because they know who's with who on the map, and when they conquer territory, they like to see that they own it now. So one of the things that I like to do is to change or to get those maps out and available to the students so that they can plan their strategy. You can low tech, you can just print them off and post them outside your room, or if you have Moodle, you can save them as a PDF for each year of the simulation, for each period, and post those to Moodle so that they can see those at any time, because they will use them a lot. They like to draw on them and make their arrows of how many troops are going where. They really do a lot of pre-class planning in order to be prepared for the day, even though those plans might go awry rather quickly. Add their troops to the map like this. We start off with Austria-Hungary. The 1914 mobilization is 2,250 troops. So we go to the map, click on the box, 2,250 for them. So we go back to the spreadsheet and we cross it out. So now we go to Germany, 3,800. That would be 4,034. And it's up on the map. Back to the spreadsheet. Erase that. Ottoman Empire, 1,075. So we go back to the map. And we got 1,075. Plus the 450 that are already in 01 equals 1525. So we go over the map, change that number to 1525. And we go down through each one of those, and as we do each one, we take them off so that we know that we've done those, and we go right down the line and do all of those, and then all of our 1914 mobilization is done, and then we'd click save up here so that we keep the spreadsheet. And that was for period 1. We've got spreadsheets for every period, so you can just have one spreadsheet open. Thanks. Down here we have a declaration of war sheet, an example. Austria-Hungary is going to declare war on the country of Serbia. So Austria-Hungary is going to send 700 into Serbia, and of course it's signed by the president of Austria-Hungary. So we go up here and we'll put in Austria-Hungary as a country, 700 original troops. Their rating, we'll just say we're going to make it, or the rating is down here, which says they are a 4. So they're going to be a 4. They're going to be at a -1 because they are the attacker. Excuse me, sorry, not -1. And then down here we're going to put in Serbia, and we'll say they have 500, and their rating is an 8, plus they are defending, and we'll say that Austria-Hungary is going to use some poison gas, so we'll say they're going to lose 0.02 or 2%. We use anywhere from 0% to 5% if there's poison gas involved. And now we see we've got a highlighted box down here which tells us our winner is Serbia, and they have 179 troops left out of the 500 that they started with, and Austria-Hungary has nothing left. You're always going to get a negative number up there, but the winner will be shown in the highlighted box. Now all the ratings are right down here for each country's army, and also their navy ratings are also down here for you to reference easily, and that's really how you fill it out. Now if we were to do multiple countries, let's say Germany, we'll add them in there with 1,000 troops, and looks like Germany's rating is a 10, and we'll say Serbia, we'll just, for an example, we'll say France sends in 1,000 troops, and their rating is a 5, so we'll put a 5 in there. They don't get to defend because we'll say they moved in, and we'll put 0.01 for poison gas. And now we see that Austria-Hungary and Germany have won the battle with 188 Austro-Hungarians and 269 Germans left. And that's really how simple the battle calculator is, and then we'll clear it off for the next battle. Poison gas certificates are distributed to the countries that develop poison gas at the beginning of the year they deployed it in battle. Students now have the option of using poison gas as a weapon. You control the amount of casualties in the battle calculator spreadsheet. I determine the amount of casualties based on the technology level of the country being attacked. For example, the Russians, who had little technology, would lose closer to 5% because of their lack of industrialization. Great Britain would lose closer to 1% because they were highly industrialized or more likely to have gas mass. And that's basically how you do it. You do it based on how much you think that country is industrialized and how much technology you feel they have. In the World War I simulation, you see here in the North Sea zone we have U-764, which would be our submarine group, and we have the British Navy up here of 661. So after the battle has been, after the day is done, the 1914 day or year is done, you would go in and you're going to make your calculations here about what the U-boats have done. And let's just give, for an example, it's 5% the first day. I'm not going to reveal what it is. It'll be located in your binder. So we'll say it's 5%. So you take the British have 661, and you will take that times 9.95 because you're going to be reducing it by 5%, and that gives you roughly 628. So we would go up here and change that to 628. Now, if there were two groups in here, we'll say, for example, we move this one in here, and we've got two U-boat groups in the North Sea zone. Now, we would have to change that, and we had 661 to start with. So we'll take 661, and we'll go times. Now this time we're going to take it times 0.9, because there are two groups, so we take 5% for each group out of that Navy, which would leave them with 595. And we just go up here, change the box to 595. And that's the way it'll start for the next day. So however many of these U-boat groups there are in the sea zone, that's how many 5% you take off of each Navy that's in that zone. And that's really how submarine warfare works. You can't use the submarines in any other way other than to reduce navies at the end of the day.
Access denied.
Access denied.
Access granted.
The student binders can be as simple as a manila folder, a 3-ring binder, or if you have a one-to-one laptop program, you could go all electronic documents. The student binder contains a student overview, the alliance map, the rules of simulation, list of the leaders, the world situation summary, the national strength report, color maps of the simulation, and top secret documents. In the back of the binders, you can place plastic folders for each period you are conducting a simulation. This allows students to keep their papers organized and separated from each period. Students are constantly referencing their binders for information during the class period. The binder templates are included in the simulation. The World Situation Summary outlines how nationalism, imperialism, industrialization, militarism, and a complex system of alliances all contributed to the start of the Great War. The background of the Balkans region is also a key issue leading up to the start of hostilities. Students should now be familiar with the circumstances in the Balkans and in Europe in 1914 before the Great War breaks out. The alliance map shows how interconnected all the major countries of Europe were. Students can visualize how difficult it would be to keep a war isolated between two countries. Students use the alliances map to develop their strategy and contemplate what reactions will occur if certain actions should be taken. This is where strategic thinking gets involved. Students must anticipate other countries' reactions to their actions. The simulation rules outline how armies can move and attack. The rules also describe how navies can move, attack other navies, or transport troops from one place to another. Students will get a general idea on how to roughly calculate how much power a country and its allies have or can throw into a battle. Special geographic limitations are also outlined to make the simulation more realistic. The intelligence report gives students a snapshot of the military power in each country. Students can see every country's army and navy size as well as their ratings before the war began. Students, however, will not know how many reserves a country has or how fast they can get those reserves into their army. The top secret documents include Army and Navy size, ratings, alliances, and the number of reserves that can be mobilized. Each document has an individual summary of their country. The summary contains historical information